after this Kalimba's done, I'm going to start working my way up towards this one, right here. It's going to be a thing. And I'm going to learn how to play it. So that I can play Shadows. What up, folks? This is Harmsy, back in the Soundbox, and in this video we're going to be making this thing you see on the screen behind me. But before we can do that, we need a template. Now, I've tried 3, maybe 4 times to actually print it, and I got it the wrong size every single time. So, what I've done is I put the screen in my lap, I put this thing on top of the screen, and I scaled it on the screen until it got as close to the right size as I felt was worth getting. And now, what I'm going to be doing in a speedy bit is putting this screen back down on the table with some tracing paper to make my template that way. And then I think I'll make a backup copy. Okay, now that I'm done listening to that amazing song, Shadows by Lindsey Sterling. If you haven't heard that song, go listen to that song. It is amazing. A lot of her other stuff is amazing too, but that is probably one of the most amazing songs. But anyway, now that I'm done listening to that song, I have my template, and it is dark enough to show up on camera as well as on a copier. So I'm going to take this to a copier, get a few copies of it made up, and then I will meet you back at the assembly table in a different shirt, ready to start cutting things out. Okay, now that I have a couple of copies made, I'm going to go ahead and set aside the master in case I need to copy it again. And I'm going to be setting aside one of the copies as well to serve as my placement guide. And this other one I'm going to be cutting out. And then I'm going to cut out this slot, and then for these 2 holes here, I'm going to lay down my little bar across it just to make sure that I get the holes exactly the spacing they need, and then poke through them with it being set on top. And as for the wood, you've already seen the Eastern Red Cedar piece that I'm going to be using for the top. It was a ukulele top, if you don't remember. Well, half of a ukulele top. And I'm going to be bracing it with this piece of Spanish cedar. It's the most similar thing I had available to the Eastern Red Cedar. And I'm going to be cutting the skinny braces about finger width, I think, and then placing them down where they need to go, and then shaving them down from there. And the wide bits, of course, will be cut wide enough to cover the width I need and laid down flat. But we need to do some cutting, both on the template and on the wood. So I think it's time for yet another speedy bit. Alrighty, I was going to include gluing on the braces as part of the time-lapse. However, I need to do this in multiple steps. First, I need to do the long pieces there, and then I need to do everything else, and that's going to require some drying time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the first stage, this top and bottom long brace, let that glue dry, and while I'm doing that, I'll set this aside and make at least one of the spool clamps so you'll know what it is I was talking about last video about spool clamps. And the first thing we got to do here is measure out the length of one of these guys, and it's right there. So let's just go ahead and mark that off. Pop it in the little portable vise thingy doodler and cut it. I think the fine tooth was the cross-cutting side. Go ahead, whip out the knife, clean up this edge here a little bit, like so. And then go ahead and lay it down. And I'll get the paper out of the way in a moment. I just want to get these two lengths. And this is the side we want down. There's a little bit of shaving that needs to happen on that side to get it at an angle. Whatever. We'll not worry about that. Instead, we'll just mark out this end and cut it to length. Clean it up. I could probably skip the step of cleaning it up if I were sawing properly, meaning attack one edge, then attack the opposite edge, and break through in the middle, but I'm lazy. There we go. We've got our two long braces at the length we need. So what we need to do now is figure out how to get these lines to show up on this board. Don't be like me. Always do your mise en placing. What's mise en placing? Ask a chef. So, the idea behind a spool clamp is you get a piece of threaded rod, a couple of wing nuts, and a couple of discs of wood in between them, say 1/4 inch like these two pieces here, and then you tighten it up and you have a clamp that can be used in addition to several other of the same kind of clamp to, say, for instance, hold down the top of an instrument as it's being glued onto the frame, which is something that I'll be needing to do. And I have enough parts here to make 5. I'm going to need more than that in order to actually finish this project, but I'll just make one up right now just to give you an idea of the way it works. Here! And now it's time for a demonstration. When it's time to glue this top on, all I gotta do is get the top on there, get these little spool clamps opened up enough that they fit right over, and that is indeed right there. Slip it down like that and tighten it down. And I'm gonna need about, I don't know, 50 bajillion of these in order to do it successfully. And it looks like I might need a slightly wider diameter. Let me just try this one more time. Okay. Okay, it'll work just fine at this diameter. I need about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then I only have enough to make 5 of them. So, yeah, I need to get some more hardware. Okay, it has been a couple of days. The glue has had plenty of time to cure. So now, what I need to do is I need to plane the braces down until they get to a width that I like, and then glue on these 3 braces. I'll do the other 2 later if I decide I need them. But before I add those other 2, I am going to go ahead and make the bridge using that piece of wood you see in my intros. I'm going to cut it down to length, put the holes where they need to be, clamping it down so that I don't have everything jumping all over the place this time. And then we'll see how well just the 5 top braces support everything. If I decide I need it, then like I said, I'll add those lower legs. Hey, you know what? This big one works better. Okay, after a little bit of cutting and some fine tuning on the sticky sandpaper that I never told you about, it's glued up. So now I will meet you in the next video to do that testing and fine tune this top. See you then.